Hello again, Radiant Scholars. So good to be back. I know it's been a while, but I've been on holiday. I've had a great time. I hope you had a great holiday as well. Let's just get right back into it. Let's ease ourselves in with an easy lesson, I suppose. We're starting with the fundamentals of algebra. Now, this is probably going to be quite important because we're going to be using algebra for a lot of things. So it's important that we get this right the first time. Now, to start off, we should understand what a variable is. Now, a variable is like a symbol that represents a value that can change or it's unknown. Oftentimes, a question might tell you what a variable holds, or it might ask you to solve for a variable. So, some examples of a variable are x, y, a, and b. Yeah, just letters representing numbers. They're very handy because they just hold the value for us, and then we can manipulate them to give us what we want. So we can actually multiply these together, and that would just be a times b. And then you would just write that as ab. Same thing for x and y, you get xy. Now ab represents a times b, and xy represents x times y. So they're just the same thing, it's just nicer to look at, and it helps to simplify things. Now, when we have multiple of a variable, like 2 or 3, we can represent it like this. So if we have a plus a, that would give us 2a because we have 2 a's, well, naturally. And similarly, if we had 3 lots of x, so just 3 times x, we would get 3x. So again, it's just about simplifying how it looks. 2a means a plus a, and 3x means 3 times x. Then we can get to the squared numbers and all of that. If we multiply a variable by itself, so x times x, we would get x squared. That should come naturally. I mean, it just makes sense. But if you had 2 different variables, so a times b, you would get a squared b, which might look a little bit weird because there's no gap here. But yeah, that's just how it's written. And then lastly, if we're dividing a variable by another variable, so a divided by b, it would just be written as a over b, like this. And that's pretty much it. It's just multiplication and division, just simplifying that so it's easier to read. Now, I'd like us to get familiar with some of the terminology we might use in algebra, because it's important to understand what we're actually dealing with. I don't know if we could work with what we've got if we don't know what we've got. The first vocabulary, I guess, I'd like to introduce is an expression. So an expression is just a combination of numbers, variables, and operations, but there's no equal sign. It's just numbers and letters by itself. So let's say 3x plus 2y minus 5, I don't know. That's just an expression. It's just by itself. You can't do much with this apart from simplifying it. So if we had some of the same variable in different parts, so we have, I don't know, 5x plus 2x, we could just simplify that down into 7x, because 5x plus 2x equals 7x. Okay, next we've got equations. So an equation is a statement that says 2 expressions are equal. Well, I think you can guess what we're going to use in an equation. 2x plus 2 equals 10, for example. The equal sign is equating the left side to the right side, and I suppose vice versa. You could solve this by some basic manipulation, just minus 2 from both sides, and then you get x equals 4. Okay, next up we've got formulas. So a formula is just a special type of equation that shows a relationship between variables, which is often used in science, but there's of course important formulas we need to know in maths too. For example, the area of a circle, pi r squared, and the circumference of a circle, which is 2 pi r. And then next we've got an identity, which is a little weird. It's an equation that is true for all the values of the variables. So you're not meant to solve this. It's just something that's always true. So you might not be familiar with this yet, but I'd guess the difference of 2 squares is an example of this. So a squared minus b squared equals b plus b, a minus b, because if you expanded the right side, you would just get the left side. It's just something that's true. You're not meant to really do anything about it, but it's good to know. And then we've got inequalities, which is a statement that compares two expressions using the arrow signs. So we've seen this before: less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And what this does is it gives us a solution that's over a range of values, not a single number, like an equation. So, I don't know, 2x plus 2 is less than 8 or something. And you'll see this often with lines on graphs. Don't mind me, I'm just drinking my tea, give me a second. Okay, oh yeah, back to the lesson. Yeah, you'll often see these with graphs, where you want to see what values of x satisfy the inequality. This one's pretty easy. You just minus 2 and then divide by 2. So when x is less than 3, that inequality at the top is satisfied. We have term next. I've used the word term a lot, but I realized I didn't actually explain it. So a term is just a single part of an expression, which are like separated by plus or minus signs. So you've seen a lot of terms here. Look at our expression. We've got 3x, that's a term. 2y, that's a term. Minus 5, that's a term. So yeah, it's just the building blocks of an expression, an equation. Just they're everywhere. Terms, they're everywhere. Okay, and finally we've got factors. So factors are just what you multiply to make an expression, I suppose. If we had, let's say, x squared plus 3x, a common factor would be x, because you could multiply x by something else to get x squared plus 3x, because it's present in both. You could just write this out as x plus 3, where you would just multiply, expand the brackets, and you'd get the top thing. And then a little nuance here. So in these expressions, the numbers before the variables are called coefficients. So in 3x plus 2y minus 5, the coefficient for 3x is 3, because there's 3 lots of x, and then 2y, the coefficient's 2. So it just shows the number that multiplies the variable. And I think that's pretty much it, yeah. For the basics of algebra, or the fundamentals, we've covered quite a bit. Make sure you really know all of these terms, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to help you. Because some of these are a little icky. I'm not sure if I even explained these fully correctly myself, but that's part of it. The journey of learning together. Returning from holiday, I didn't want us to have a difficult lesson. I mean, if you're new to algebra, maybe it's a little bit confusing, but yeah. So go on and explore the world of algebra, I suppose. Okay, see you in the next lesson, Radiant Scholars.